All right, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today I'm joined by indie pop icon out of Nashville, Caroline Romano. Caroline, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Awesome, awesome. We're glad to hear it. Well, It Took Me Falling just came out March 13th.
Good.
We've got a lot of mo from it. We're sitting here on March 24th, so it's been out for a few weeks.
Crazy.
What's been the reception? What's been the response? Like, what have you been getting from it?
Yeah, it's been really positive, which is obviously all you can hope for when you release a project. But it's definitely an EP that has a bit of a different sound than my previous projects and even singles. And so I was a little nervous putting it out, what people would think and if the response would be good. But people really seem to like it, and yeah, it's just a sweet little love song EP, which is very different than my usual stuff. But yeah, it's been good.
Got it. So, what made you want to change to something a little bit more kind of in that in that realm, like from what you're doing before?
Yeah, so I mean, I always kind of write about just what's going on in my life, and prior to a year and a half ago, I didn't really have love song situation to write about, and then I did fall in love, and it really changed just the whole tone of what I wanted to say during that time, and it felt very soft and cinematic and just different than anything I'd written before. And it was very uncomfortable for me, honestly, because I was like, I'm not used to this. I don't know how to do this kind of music. So it took me like a year to get it all together, and I was just like, I want to say this is what's going on in my life, so I'm going to share it. And if it's just an era, great, but if it like sonically continues like that, then cool.
Awesome. Well, when you came, kind of going into let's rewind the clock from before, It Took Me Falling. Like, what are sort of the, when you first got started into, writing and music? Like, were you always in Nashville? Were you based other places? Like, take me through the story.
Yeah, so I'm from Mississippi originally, and I heard about Nashville via like a Taylor Swift documentary, and I was like, that's the place I have to go. And so for my 13th birthday, I begged my parents to take me there, and I had written like 5 songs, the worst songs ever, on guitar, and I played them at like college bars, and I like played them at the Bluebird Cafe that week, and I just fell in love with it. And so I started coming here like every month during high school.
Wow.
Moved here when I was 17, and yeah, so pretty much been Nashville based since then, but I love the city, and obviously I go to LA sometimes to write, which is another amazing place. But there's just something about the storytelling here that I'm a really big fan of.
Awesome. Awesome. So, monthly visits when you were, 16. I mean, like, were you just hopping in the car? We're popping over
Yeah,
to
me and my
Nashville,
mom, I
or?
would get off school on a Friday or whatever, and we would hop in the car, and I would go do writes and just try to make connections that way, and got signed with a management company when I was, I don't know, 15, and got involved doing some stuff with like the Radio Disney crew and writing songs for Disney, and tried my hand at a lot of different genres, anywhere from like EDM to super pop to where I kind of landed now, which I didn't feel like I really discovered until I was probably like 19, like the indie alternative pop scene.
Got it. Got it. I mean, Radio Disney and like getting involved with the mouse. Like, what was that like?
It was crazy. It's definitely like, I think I was so young that I didn't quite really understand how awesome it was. Like, it was so fun at the time, but it was also like, I don't think I realized how cool it was until now. I'm like, wow, that was such a cool experience. Yeah, it was just amazing to have my songs on the radio, and I remember like going to school and kids would be like, is this your song? And I was like, no, it's not my song, because I was for some reason like didn't want people to know that I did music in high school. But yeah, it was really special. I got to go to a lot of cool events and see a lot of things that, I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
Wow. I mean, well, shout out to your mom for piling you in the car and getting you
Yeah.
getting you there.
Shout out to Mom and Dad. Yeah, they're very supportive, which was awesome.
Well, very cool. Very cool. Well, so you moved. You've been in Nashville. It seems like for a while. Like, I guess as you've gotten in there, like, obviously known for the big country music machine. Like, talk me through the indie scene and like how you kind of got your hooks in there a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, when I first started coming here, it definitely was a lot more like strictly country. But I think over the years, it's definitely evolved, especially I feel like particularly in like the indie rock pop, like that kind of scene.
Sure.
There's just been a lot of emergence of that. And I think it was just like the friends I found myself hanging out with in my like later teens that were here. They were just like making cool music that kind of fit into that lane. And then, they've become artists who are very successful in that lane as well, which is cool. And so I think it's just kind of like just hanging out with the people as the times change here. But yeah, it was a cool wave to be a part of, and like it's growing every day, which is awesome that like you can pretty much write any genre or do anything in Nashville here as well.
Now you mentioned like you experimented in EDM. That's something that like we haven't had the experience to chat with somebody about. Like compare the songwriting process to for It Took Me Falling to something like that you went and did it with EDM. Like is it very similar or not very similar?
I would say the way I did it was very similar, and maybe that's why I don't do great EDM music. Like I had a song with this artist Rehab, and it was like on the Billboard dance charts. Like it was really great, but it was just a song I'd written in Nashville with my friends as a strictly pop song that got like turned into an EDM song. And then, my team around me was kind of like, what if we kept doing EDM? And I was like, okay, let's try it. And I just wanted to write like a lot of words and a lot of, verse chorus vibes, and that's not really the vibe with EDM. I learned so much about songwriting and just about the culture and community, which I'm such a big fan of. But I also realize I'm a little bit too wordy at times, I think, for traditional EDM music. So I think I had like 3 songs in that vein, and then I was like, I gotta try something else. But it was really, really cool. It was a fun time.
Very cool. Very cool. Got too much to say. I like it. You got to be able to get it out on the piece of paper on your own.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know. I wish it's an art to me. Like definitely, it's something I'm working on. And as I've gotten older, I think I get a little bit better at it. Is like the power in saying less. But yeah, I just had to definitely at like 17, 18, I had way too many words for that.
Love it. I love it. Well, I want to dive in. There's a couple tracks I want to talk about with you. Just we'll get some highlights. But the song "Spotlight," if you will be "Not Used to You." Something that's featured in a lot of your social. You use there's a lot of French in it, so I'm curious to understand. What's your bearing on the? You appear to have an Italian last name according to the Macaroni Grill. So where are we at in the Romance languages? What's your grasp?
0%. I tried to learn Italian via Duolingo, and I felt like the owl was like too intense, so I had to take a step back. But the reason there's so much French in this song is because literally "Not Used to You" was the first song I wrote for this project before I even knew that it was going to be a project. And I just started like dating this guy, and I was like, I don't know this feels so like foreign and different to me that I don't even understand it. And so I was working with my friend Todd Tran, and he made this beat, and like we started singing it. And how like when you're in a session, you just kind of say words that won't end up in the song at the end of the day. You're just trying to get the melody out. Well, I said "c'est la vie," whatever the fuck that means, and that is what ended up being. We were just like, oh wait, that's kind of cool. That's kind of the saying anyway of like, I don't understand how this goes. And then I think "je ne sais quoi" was really the only other French term we felt comfortable throwing out there with confidence in the room. And so those are why those are in there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, like, when you begin in your process there, like, is it start with a beat? Does it start, do you start with lyrics and work into a beat? Like give us the nuts to bolts there.
Yeah, so I am a very lyrical person. I love words, and I write about my life. And so for me, it always stems from like an idea or a lyric. And then the opportunity I have to work with really talented, awesome people in Nashville or LA who make these awesome tracks. Like I'll tell them this concept and I'll bring in this lyric or this idea. And I feel like they just like spawn this beat or this track somehow. I'm like, how'd you guys do that? But it fits the emotion so well of what I'm going for. And so kind of how I like to work, at least what I found works for me, is like I love to just say, you guys know music a lot more than I do. Build out the track as much as you want, and I'm just going to sit here and write for like 30 minutes to an hour, however long it takes. And we kind of just see if they fit together and then edit from there.
Got it. How long is it, whenever you're in the editing wing, like, I mean, I'm sure there's certainly like some difficulties and like, maybe over engineering or under engineering, and like how involved are you in that process of like, hey, we need to take something out here, we need to put something in here, what about like a drop of water here, like
yeah, right. It definitely depends on the song. I think as I've gotten older, again, I've gotten more confident in being like opinionated on, hey, I think this should sound like this, or I think I know I want this to sound like this. But I'm always down to like hear everything first because you never know what's gonna work and fit. But I definitely am more of like a let's always try to take one thing out and see how it feels. I think that's like something to do with fashion as well. It's like some quote that's like I read it was like before you leave the house, always take like one accessory off, and I've tried to like apply it to my music as well to see if it just needs it.
Interesting. Like there's something more simple, I guess, but obviously there's always some brilliance in the complexity too. So
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
the what's the for this album, like I guess you're in this kind of new state, you in it for a year, like I guess like was it like a specific experience or just overall like you were like, all right, like this is the first time I've ever been able to write about like this particular part of life, like what was that like to kind of put that down on paper? Like was it scary a little bit, or like
It was definitely scary. It was very vulnerable because there was no like walls to hide behind. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm falling in love. This is happening in real time. I'm scared. All of the above. I'm letting go of all this other stuff. And so it was pretty much the process. I mean, I wrote a ton of songs for the project that just didn't end up on this particular one. But it would pretty much just be like something would happen that day, or I would feel something for the first time maybe and be like, I've never dealt with this before. Like, I'm going to write about it. And it was just pretty much like a documentary of the past like year of my life and that whole process of falling. And it was definitely scary. I was like, dang, this is probably the most vulnerable I've ever been, just because there wasn't that, like, I guess, humor to hide behind in the heartbreak that I've written about in previous, projects. So it was scary, but it was also the most rewarding thing to write about as well.
yeah. Well, now when you play them, outright, you at least, you can kind of look back on that time specifically and like be, smile. At least you've got you've got it like almost written in your. I always like to think like all the artists that we talk to, like, they kind of have like they often read about eras of their life, and it's like that. When you go play that every night at a show, like you can kind of think about like where you were and how you're feeling at that time.
Exactly, it takes you right back. You've got like a little memory book that you get to relive every night, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, Up the Stairs is another one, on the album. Like for that one, is that a similar kind of process where you had a beat, had a, hey, like here's the emotional feeling of, what I'm writing about, like hit me with the beat, let's do this thing, or?
That one was, I think I wrote it partly outside with my friend John. He goes by John the Dropout as his producer name, but he wrote a lot of this project with me, and he's one of my dear friends. And it was kind of just, it started as like a therapy session, just like, let's talk about what's going on in your life. And then my friend Sam Varga was also there, and John had a guitar, and we were outside, and he just started playing that little picky thing. And I knew what I wanted to write about, and I knew I wanted it to feel sweet but organic at the same time. So that was kind of our first diving into the like chiller aspect of this project. And so it took a second to like figure out how it was going to go and how to incorporate like the pop elements as well. But yeah, I think we just kind of wrote like half outside, and I recorded it in an SM7, and then we built out the track later because it just was like, we'll come back to this and listen to it. And I loved it when I did. So.
Gotcha. Well, with the I always like to ask about the listing in the track. There's 6 tracks on the EP. Like, what was there any significance to the to the order of them? Like, what was the process getting to that point?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question because I feel like sometimes people are like, I don't care about the track listing, it's whatever, but I love a good track listing. And for me, it's really important. And if you're a big like album or EP listener, listening from start to finish and be able to like hear it in its consecutive order. So for me, I wanted it to tell a story of like kind of where I was coming from with Cruel and Unusual and the stuff I'd gotten out of in my life and kind of the perspective I had. And then you go immediately into like Up the Stairs, this sweet kind of like putting you in the moment, introducing this love, and it grows from there. And then the resolution is It Took Me Falling, and the realization of all of those things. So yeah, it was definitely like I want to tell the story as clearly as possible with the track listing.
I love it. Well, is it similar whenever you're building the set list? I mean, obviously, potential tour coming along with this. Like, what are the plans like there?
Yeah, well, when building the set list, it is similar. I think it's harder because you don't want to go like, sometimes the story and the sound don't coincide. Like, you don't want to take the audience, at least notes I've gotten from people before. It's like, your set is like this. And so I try to like build it up and take it down. So sometimes storyline wise it may not be the same, but I do try at least sonically for it to feel like a rise and fall and then a peak again. But they're definitely working on some exciting like tour plans. I just played my first ever Nashville headline show on the EP release day, which was really special. And so my team and I have been talking about next steps and hopefully looking at some stuff for late summer, early fall. Not totally locked in on what exactly it's going to look like, but some more shows are for sure going to happen this year, which I'm very excited about because it's my favorite thing.
Yeah. What in the past when you've toured, like, what are some of your favorite places you've been, and where you got to hit for this tour as well?
I've only ever toured the West Coast, oddly enough, besides like playing like Nashville and some odd areas in like, Charlotte, like North Carolina or places in the Southeast. So I definitely want to play the Northeast, Midwest. Like I've heard those are really fun places to play. And it'd be really cool to see. But I definitely want to like go back to Seattle. Bend, Oregon was iconic. Loved all of that like Pacific Northwest vibe. Those were super fun to play in. And the energy of the people in the crowd was just really special and memorable. But I just want to play anywhere there's people. Anyone who wants to listen. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Anyone, anywhere. Hey, get a good hike in Bend, Oregon before you go.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had time. Have you been to Bend?
I have not. No, I haven't had the pleasure.
It's crazy. It's like this small town, and like it was the first stop on tour, and there's just like deer running around, and there's like one Costco, and the last Blockbuster on Earth is actually in Bend, Oregon. So we went there, obviously. It was just a weird like liminal space, but it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful place I've ever been. So definitely recommend.
I love it. Well, with you, getting back in, hopefully, like, I'm throwing Atlanta's hat in as the, hey, like we're gonna need you to come down 75 for a show. Have you played here before? Like, have you been, been in and around?
No, oddly enough, I feel like I should, like being in, semi proximity. So, and being from Mississippi as well, I feel like it's all kind of like we all feel close to each other. I've never had the pleasure to play there, but I definitely want to. And my friends who've played there really, really have loved it. So I'm excited to, whenever that happens.
All right. Well, come on. Let us know. We'll do our best to get some folks out. Well, it depends. What are you trying to play? What's your cap?
I mean, if you're just going to say a small venue, like 500 people, what would you?
500? I think they can fit 500 at Smith's, but I would say so. Smith's Old Bar, I have a special place because I've seen a lot of acts that have like graduated from there. Yeah, so like I don't know if you know 49 Winchester, but I've seen them there, and then I went and saw them like next at Variety Playhouse. So like they've, I think that's kind of my favorite thing. So probably Smith's. Okay. We've got a good Aisle 5 is a good venue. It's right down that are all kind of in that 500
Sweet.
Cap area.
Love it.
So
okay, good to know. I always like to ask.
Write them down.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, the people will kill me. The Masquerade also is good. It's like you gotta get the full.
I have heard the Masquerade. Yes. Yeah.
So I've had on the booking triumvirate here of Smith's, the Masquerade, and 0 Mile. So I want to make sure that all those people get a shout out for
it's covered. Yeah.
For that.
Heck yeah.
But well. For you, like, coming from Mississippi, you've been in Nashville for a long time. Like, I mean, you love the West Coast. It seems like was that something you guys would, open up and potentially, do an album out there? Or like, I know you say you write a little bit in LA. Like, what, any thoughts there?
I think it depends. Like, I definitely don't know where the next project is going to be. It'll be probably written in Nashville, but I have some really great collaborators and friends out there in LA, and it's always nice to just kind of like. I'd like to do LA for like a week or two at a time because I do love the West Coast, but I also feel like it's just there's something about I also like home. So I like to go there for a week or two at a time, kind of get in a different routine, get in a different vibe. And then I feel like I always get some like really weird stuff, but out of that there's like a couple like really good ones, and those are my favorite songs. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it'll be a mixture of both for this next one, which I'm excited about. But we'll see. Yeah. I don't know.
I love it. You mentioned the collaborators a lot. Like, how do you work with somebody like that? Like, I think ultimately, it's you're judge, jury, executioner on a project, but like bringing somebody else in to kind of share your art with, like, how long does it take to build that trust and with that person?
It takes, honestly, I mean, sometimes it feels instant, but it does take a couple tries in order, at least for me, to feel like, okay, I can really say, like, be fully myself here, tell you how I'm feeling about this song, whatever's going on in my life. It's like dating a little bit because it's like you got to get to know this person and then you open up and you really know if you click with each other. And when you do, it's the best. So I find there's a lot of the same people I find myself going back to and working with who've also just become my dear friends during this, process of working together. But yeah, it just takes like I still do a lot of like first meeting sessions where it's like meeting for the first time, and I feel like we kind of get to know each other based off of that. But it really just depends, and I think everyone has their own. It's cool to see throughout my friends who I work with, like who brings that's so different and special than the other person to the table. And so it's fun to kind of just be able to create this wide variety of music with all of these different people.
Very cool. Very cool. Anybody in particular that have projects you'd want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned John the Dropout. He's one of my best friends, and he's awesome. Dane and Reed Rector, he's in LA. I was a huge fan of Dane's before we started working together because he kind of helped start and produce like the Charlotte Sands project, and now he's working with like Under Oath, Boys Like Girls, all those artists. So I was a really big fan of his, and I kind of fangirled a little bit working with him, but then we became really good friends. My friend Todd Tran, Andrew Capra, who are both local as well. But there's so many just incredible people. It'd be hard to name them all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have folks that are kind of that's their space, right? It's not necessarily that they're trying to be on stage or in like a true project, but more so like they just want to help build people up in that scenario. So kind of an interesting niche place to be for some folks. So have you done that for somebody else?
I do co-writes all the time for other people. I obviously do not produce. I would not throw that hat on as of yet. But I love stepping outside of like my own project and writing for other people and my friends, or just, anyone who is down to share their life with me and work on things like that. And I think it's just an amazing way to not only build skills as a writer, but also just be a part of someone else's story, which is, just as fulfilling in a different way, for sure.
Sure. Have you had any sessions where you're like, ooh, I gave that one up, but maybe that one should have been a Caroline Romano original?
There are some songs that I adore and I feel that way about, but I'm like, I know deep down that this person can pull it off better than I can. So there definitely it is hard to like part with a song sometimes, but it is it's for the best. I have to tell myself. Yeah.
I love it. Everything happens for a reason, so you gotta make sure to.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure. Well, great. Well, look, excited about the EP. Obviously, March 13th. Do we have anything else coming out this year? Do we have any singles? Anything on the horizon that we need to make sure people know about?
Yeah, I mean, end of May, I'm putting out a single. I'm not very good at waiting in between projects to put out songs, so there's definitely going to be a lot more music, and I'm working towards just the next project, whatever that looks like, if it's an EP or an album. But there'll be a lot of more music this year for sure.
Got it. Well, since you're in the mode, I mean, what kind of what can we expect? I mean, it took us falling, like we're falling in love. Like, is this the project that we're in love and we're loving it, or what mood are we in?
I can't quite decide yet. The next single is a little bit more of like a self-reflection kind of single, like kind of outside of the relationship space. And it still has that like more upbeat energy that It Took Me Falling has, but it also brings back a little bit of the tumultuousness that my project has carried on throughout, just sonically. But I think it'll be somewhere in the middle. I think I want to write more about my process of being an artist and like the love of this dream that, we all have that's so hard to reach and hard to get to, and kind of personify that in a relationship standpoint. So I wonder if that might be something I end up making next, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably live in the same kind of world that It Took Me Falling was in, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely your art, you have a relationship with it. It's not necessarily that it's like, I guess I consider this art, but like again, like any kind of project you do, like you're kind of like, hey, like you sometimes you give more to it, sometimes you give less to it. It's like it is definitely a relationship. I like that analogy. What for you, like the other stuff, right? Like I do ask about kind of the the promotion and using, like I mentioned the C'est La Vie line is in your your socials and like all of that. Like, is that something that you're coming up with? Is it like a collaborative effort with a team? Like, what is the how does the social strategy work? For you, and like it's an unfortunate part of the for some people unfortunate part, but like how do you handle
For me,
it?
it is. Yeah. I mean, it's a constant effort of figuring it out, and it's 50-50, particularly for this project. I enlisted the help of my friend Maggie London, and she acted as sort of creative director for any of the high-quality, good-looking content you see on my page. She was a part of, which was awesome. But if you see, there's a lot of just also videos of me in my, like, bathroom or, like, in the middle of the street, like, just filming stuff. I am not one of those people who I think has figured out social media. I think it's partly because I am like a shy, introverted person, and music is where I feel, loud and like myself. But when you kind of have to put on the self-promotional aspect of it, that's where I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. So I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a mixture of trying it out, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the self-proclaimed loudest introvert, according to your Spotify, I would say, you've done well, and I appreciate you opening it up on here and chatting with us here. So we'll dive into the last part of the interview here. Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. It will be the dumbest 20 questions that you answer the whole entire day today. So
excited.
All right, Caroline Romano, cake or pie? Let's kick it off.
Cake. Any day.
All right. Caking it up. Okay. Salad or soup?
Salad. If it's iceberg lettuce, salad.
She likes the iceberg crunch. Let's get it.
I do.
Okay. All right. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunset, for sure. I need to see more of the sunrise, but yeah.
All right. A little sunset. All right. Here's a fun one. Sports related. Don't know if you like sports or not, but home run or touchdown? What would you rather do?
Touchdown, because I do know more about football than baseball. That's purely it.
All right, ripping some teeters. Hey, tighten up. Let's go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, night in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
I'm trying to have more nights out, just because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm getting older and I need to hang out with my friends and actually leave my house. So, night out.
Obviously, you can catch her at Tootsie's every single Saturday on Broadway, ripping
You will
it,
not catch me
with
on Broadway.
every single other bachelorette party out there.
That is the last place you will catch me. But
oh man, I love asking a local Nashvilleian about Broadway and what they think about it.
have you been on Broadway?
Oh yeah, of course. I've been 3 or 4 times. Did
you enjoy your experience? I mean, I will say it's fun the first time, but then it's not fun anymore after that.
I think I had a good gap of time between the ones
that's
that I
fair.
did, and so like I had like 2 or 3 years between each time I've been, and so you kind of get the
You healed.
you kind of get the stink off you, and then you like go back, you dive right back in the pool, So
God bless.
But there was something, that's for sure. But when you do go out and you maybe not go to Broadway, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor?
The robot. I do not have the ability of the worm, sadly. I wish I did.
All right.
But,
All right. We're gonna work the worm. We're gonna get the worm in the new next tour.
One day.
Worm's
Get
coming.
back in a year. Yeah.
I love it. All right, guac or queso, your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
Queso, for sure. I'm not a big
She's
guac
cheese.
person. I know.
Okay.
I am.
Waffles or pancakes?
Oh, this is actually really hard. But waffles, because the experience of getting to, like, why do they allow you to make your own waffles at a hotel, but they say no at pancakes? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I guess the griddle could get nasty if people don't know how to do it.
I guess, but it already gets I don't know. It's just a weird experience. They're like, you guys got waffles, but pancakes, that's too much. So I think I think
they've
control
kind of
over
idiot-proofed the waffle maker.
Yeah,
So-
that's fair. That's fair. So, yeah.
And not everybody's got the skill like you got to be able to do the thing and.
I don't have the
flip it.
skill, but I just want to try. Who knows, if I can make a public pancake. So we'll see.
Public Pancake, cool band name. You can have it. All right.
No, public pancake.
All right. Coffee or tea with your public pancakes?
Tea. I've recently gotten off coffee pretty much entirely. So like peppermint tea is my new vibe.
All right. I love it. Saving the voice. All right.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats? I heard some screeching
Some
earlier.
scuffling. Yeah, sorry about that. There's 2 cats that live
scurrying.
here. I do have a cat, so I have to go with cats. And they were
Okay.
fighting behind me. There's nothing, and I have to leave my door open at all times, or else they'll scream incessantly. So they have to come in and out. So there's no
I
winning.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's go cats. All
Yeah.
right. Do you more identify with like a ninja or a pirate?
Oh God. I don't think. Maybe a pirate, because I don't think I have like the stealthiness of a ninja, and I feel like that's just like base level ninja stuff. So, I guess pirate.
right.
If you could be a shy pirate.
Shy pirate. All right.
Yeah.
Another good band name. You can have that one as
That is a
well.
good one.
All
We're just
right.
rolling through these. Yeah.
All right. Chips or pretzels?
Chips. Yeah.
right.
Chips.
Fries or tots?
Sorry, do you hear the cats? I'm so
Oh
sorry.
yeah, we love that. Let's go.
So sorry. Oh God, it also depends on the place. But I would say tots, just because I feel like more places should have tots. And when you get a fry wrong, it's really wrong. Do you like Chick-fil-A fries?
I do.
No, terrible answer. Sorry. They're so
Wrong.
Like, no, they're wrong. So tots. Let's just go with tots. End it there. We won't get into that. But yeah.
All right. All right. After a long day, are you more likely to rip on a TV show or a movie?
Probably a movie. I like to be able to like finish my task at the end of the night and be like, even if it's a movie, I'm like, I did that. Check it off.
Yeah.
Know what happened. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Are aliens real?
I hope not. I don't know. Space scares me, so I'm gonna guess no because I don't think mentally I can deal with that personally.
All right. All right. That's the first time someone said that. Let's go. Caroline Romano, fear of space. Hey, look, respect
fear.
it.
Yeah.
Respect it. Not going to see her on any Elon Musk rockets anytime soon.
No, no.
All right. If you were a fruit, what kind of fruit would you be, though?
I feel like I'd be an apple because you can do a lot with them. They have lots of like flavors, and there's lots of different kinds of apples. You can kind of like shake it up. I don't know what that says about me. I just like apples personally, so I guess that's why I'd be one.
You're versatile. I like it.
Versatile, sort of. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is love at first sight real?
I think so. I'm also just like a very like hopeless romantic person, but I live my life based off that. So yes, I would say yes.
All right. Very good. All right. And give us a couple bands that we might not know that we ought to check out, or some artists.
Gotcha. Not a band, but I've been listening to Aaron LeCount so much recently. What else have I been listening to? I'm on my Julia Wolf kick, but we all know Julia Wolf. She's incredible. South Arcade. They're a fun, like, 2000s punk rock band. Really been enjoying them. My friend Peyton Marie is a really talented artist here as well. So yeah, I would say those are my artists on rotation recently.
I love it. I love it. Well, we appreciate you sharing those. Of course, we've got Aaron LeCount, Julia Wolf, South Arcade, and Pate Marie. Look them all up. Go check them out. And of course, Caroline Romano, we got to go get you to stream and listen to the EP that came out March 13th. It will be right down, listed down below here, so we can get to get easy access for folks. As you come through. So, but Caroline, thank you so much for taking the time on this beautiful Tuesday evening, and look forward to seeing you down here in Atlanta at one of our
We'll make it
premier
happen.
venues.
I know, I'm excited. It's obviously got to be one of those that you suggested now. There's no other options, so very excited. It'll be great. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll look forward to it. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.